I grew up in a pretty unhealthy, abusive environment. By the time I was 15, I had already attempted suicide twice and then found drugs. Spent 8 years in active addiction and then ended up at the end of my addiction in a house with no electricity, water, food, just with a bunch of other guys doing drugs. My entire life, I didn't believe in God. And then at the end of my addiction, in that house, suddenly, it felt like the room lit up and there was just this peace. And I just felt like I'd been hit in the face and I knew God was real. And all sorts of things just kept happening until I finally ended up at the rehab in recovery, and it was just world changing. One of the biggest things that I learned at the Men of Nehemiah was that without knowing it, I'd been living my life entirely for myself and not relying on anyone else or God. And that's when they started taking us to the Job Connection program, where I met Robert Monroy and the CDC team. What it was like to be in the Job Connection program around all those loving people. It was my first time really out of the Men of Nehemiah program in sobriety, around a bunch of people who were sober and in ministry and all this stuff. And it was, I would say, one of the best experiences I could have possibly had. A few things I learned from Watermark's Job Connection program were resume skills, interviewing skills, and how to confide and learn from a mentor. A day for me at Brother Bill's means planning for all of the food that is going to have to be replaced on the shelves, how many neighbors we're going to serve, where the pallets are going to go so that they're accessible, where the volunteers are going to be positioned so that we can serve our neighbors well, and how to give our neighbors and our volunteers the best experience we can. Going from the Job Connection program to Financial Catalyst was very different. I would say that was actually more challenging in a way, just because I spent so long spending wrong, and so it was breaking habits and then trying to learn more new ones. In the first part of Financial Catalyst, my takeaway from that was that there are a lot of skills financially that I need to learn and practice and continue doing. And then in the second part, I was able to save up for a car that I needed. I spent 23 years fighting the idea of God, and through multiple suicide attempts, he didn't let me die. And it was shown to me through all the people who helped me through my very early recovery that what I'm supposed to do is help people. I say it feels like I'm doing what I'm supposed to, even though it's extremely hard. I've never and may never have a job more fulfilling.